Tell me one thing that you learned in the last 20 years that I can take with me for the next half of my life.
One of my favorite lessons is that action produces information. So Paul Graham, I think, said this, and I repeated it before, but if you're unsure what to do, just do anything. That even if it's the wrong thing, it will produce information about what you should be doing. And most people get stuck in this analysis paralysis of, well, what about this and that? And then just start. Host a dinner with some friend, call someone to talk about it. Choose a name for this project. Write a paragraph and put it on X or send it to, there's something you can do just to start the ball rolling and moving. And what's the next step that you can do right now? And it'll take you to the next one and the next one. Like step into the unknown and just take the initiative. And that'll produce information, which will tell you what you should be doing instead. And that'll be on to the next step.
What's something you believe in that most people would not agree with?
Well, okay, here's one. I recently invested in an embryo editing company. And the reason I did that is that embryo editing is controversial, but
Can you explain what that is?
Oh, this is that a lot of people do like IVF today, and they have different embryos that they have available, and they do pre-implantation genetic testing, and they sort of choose the one that they want to implant and everything. I think that we're going to be in a future here in I don't know how many years, 10 years or more, where you can actually start to make a small number of edits, maybe starting with a single base pair. And there's actually like 300 or 400 million people today living with genetic disease. A lot of these are rare genetic diseases. This is a controversial topic for many reasons, but one reason is that there's somebody who, Hu Jinkui, I think his name is, in China, kind of edited some babies and did it in maybe like not the most scientifically responsible way, one might say, to put it mildly. And it created, I'd say, like a setback for the industry. But I think if you fast forward, if this technology can be de-risked and shown in a laboratory research environment to be done safely, whether that's with mouse embryos or in a research environment to mitigate the risks, I think that it would be a powerful way to eliminate a lot of diseases, or at least mitigate risks. Like, ApoE4 is a single base pair edit that is, I believe, preventive for Alzheimer's, right? And so, or there's PCSK9 is like a single base pair edit that would be protective against heart disease, right? And so there's hundreds of millions or billions of people out in the world who have certain protective things, some that don't. And I think everybody wants to have healthy children. And it may actually end up in a world here in 10 or 20 years where it's viewed as, it'll flip from being like crazy and irresponsible to do it. It'll flip to being kind of crazy and irresponsible not to do it. Because if you could give your child like the best chance of a healthy life, why wouldn't you do it at a certain point? Now, there's a lot of steps between here and there that would have to happen for that technology to be de-risked, but and be done again in a safe and trusted way. So I think the research should start now, and then without someone starting it, it'll probably wouldn't get there.
So this is mostly for disease prevention.
Yeah.
How do you prevent this from becoming a crazy mother saying, I want my kid to look like this or to be like that?
Mm-hmm.
And then they basically edit, if it's possible, but probably one day will be. They edit their future kid to be exactly how they want it to be.
Yeah. Well, we don't have the ability to do that now. Could it get there in the future? It's possible. And I think, in many ways, actually, parents are choosing how their children look by who they decide to have kids with, and they choose their partner, right? There's all kinds of things you're choosing in that regard. And we actually choose all kinds of things about our kids, how they turn out, like what school they go to or what nutrition they have. And so I think that this will be one other factor. Now, some people might make bad choices on that, just like in a way that they might choose to send their kid to a school that's not very good or feed them unhealthy food, right? But ultimately, we live in a free society. People, I think, should be free to make some bad choices. But ultimately, I don't know, in a society, they'll have to be, like, we as a society will have to understand what the rules and limitations are around that from a regulation point of view.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for working so hard day and night for more than 13 years to help our industry move forward for doing all these things that you probably didn't want to do.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it. It's been fun.
The crypto industry would certainly not be where it is today, and I wouldn't either without your super hard work, grit, and resilience.